Oh, that's too bad. Wow, it's quiet here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The City of Garden Ridge City Council regular meeting for February is being called to order. It is 6 o'clock. Everyone, all the city council people are here. The mayor is under the weather, so he won't be here. Let's stand for the pledges.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and one indivisible.
Are Ellie Truon and Stacy Hill here? Got one.
Just Ellie.
Just Ellie? Okay. Come on up. This is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And City of Garden Ridge will be adopting a proclamation. Whereas nearly 1.5 million high school students nationwide experience physical abuse from a dating partner each year. Whereas victimization increases teens' risk of injury, substance abuse, eating disorders, unwanted pregnancy, and suicide. Whereas 1 in 3 adolescents in the United States is a victim of physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner, a figure that far exceeds rates of other types of youth violence. Whereas violent behavior typically begins between the ages of 12 and 18, and the severity of intimate partner violence is often greater in cases where the pattern of abuse was established in adolescence. And whereas only 33% of teens in an abusive relationship ever tell anyone about the abuse, and 81% of parents either believe teen dating violence is not an issue or admit they do not know if it is one. And whereas it is essential to raise community awareness and provide training for teachers, counselors, and school staff so that they can recognize when youth exhibit signs of dating violence. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John McCaw, Mayor Pro Tem of Garden Ridge, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2021 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Urge residents to join the Crisis Center of Omaha County in promoting healthy teen relationships, calling on youth and adults to observe Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month with activities and conversations about respectful and nonviolent relationships in their homes, schools, and communities. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and official seal of the City of Garden Ridge this 3rd day of February, 2021. Signed, John McCaw, Mayor Pro Tem.
Is that okay?
Yes.
It's on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. This is my 4th year, I want to say, being able to come and speak. I'm not a huge fan of speaking in front of people, but I am a huge fan of raising awareness whenever it comes to teen dating violence and some of the other things that we address whenever it comes to our center. Teen dating violence specifically, though, because that's my job, is to work with our youth and to talk to our youth about what's healthy and what's unhealthy. And so this year I had a teacher from one of our local high schools help me with a little project. And so he sent out some questions to his students, 110 students in all, asking, do you talk to your adults about what's healthy and what's unhealthy? If not, what do you think the reason is behind that? So out of 110, only 6 said yes, that they do talk to their adults about what's healthy and what's unhealthy. So that means 104 do not. With the ones who said no, they said that it's because it's an uncomfortable topic, that their parents didn't grow up talking about this, and so they don't really talk about it, and it's just something that they don't talk about, or whenever they try to talk to adults about it, their adults don't believe them, or they think it's not that big of a deal. So then I also got some results from our clients in our shelter and asked them, whenever you were children, did you talk to your parents about this? Out of 40, they all said no, that they didn't. Same thing, it was uncomfortable, it was taboo, we didn't talk about that stuff. And I asked them, how do you feel it could have helped you in your life if you would have had these conversations on what's healthy and what's unhealthy? And all of them said that they really genuinely feel like they would not be in a shelter at this time due to an abusive relationship. So, whenever I come and I talk to the community about it, I know it is still a very uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially whenever we get into what the types of abuse are, what that really looks like, and how it can result in self-harm and suicide. It's uncomfortable, it's not happy, it's not something that we really want to acknowledge or talk about. But it's not always that hard. So with my lessons, I actually start teaching as little as pre-K. We start having those conversations of what's okay, what's not okay. A lot of the times we teach our kids that it's not okay to say no, but there are times where it's actually necessary for them to say no. If someone's making them feel unsafe or uncomfortable, it's important for them to say no and to set boundaries and to have adults that they can go to. But even with my elementary students, I find whenever we do our circle of trust, which is coming up with only 5 trusted adults, I get at least in every class 2 that have none. They can't put a single adult in their circle. So starting as young as 3rd grade, they don't feel they have any adults that they can go to. So I ask you that you start to have these conversations, whether it's with your kids, your grandkids, siblings, cousins, whoever it may be, starting to have these conversations. And it's as simple as what's okay and what's not okay. And it's not a one-time conversation, it's an ongoing conversation. That makes it more comfortable. And even letting your kids know or your grandkids know, hey, this is a little uncomfortable for me, but it's important. Because one of the students who does have trusted adults to talk to, I was so proud of her parents because they tell her all the time, even though this is uncomfortable, that doesn't mean we don't talk about it. And that's true. Just because it's uncomfortable, that doesn't mean we don't talk about it. Because breaking the cycle, it starts with us having those conversations with our kids, with our grandkids, when they're young, before something happens. So, again, I love whenever I get to come and talk to the community because even if I'm talking to one person or multiple people, it's planting the seed and it's starting that conversation. So I ask you to please help me by starting to have those conversations with friends, family members, whoever it may be. And they're just simple ones that start with, let's talk about what's okay, what's not okay. Let's talk about who do you have, who can you go to? And it just starts with that. So thank you so much again for allowing me to be here, and you'll have a great night.
Citizens, I'm sorry. City employee recognition, employee introductions. Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Council, I would like to this evening introduce one of our newest officers, Michael Jefferson. He came to us about 6 weeks ago with a few years of experience in a town south of us, along with a few years with a school district. We brought him on board. He's blowing through FTO. He just started phase 2. So hopefully here in the next few weeks, he'll be finishing that up. We'll have him out on his own. So I wanted to bring him in and introduce him to everybody.
Welcome to Garden Ridge.
Nancy, do we have some thank you notes and recognitions?
We sure do. The first thank you note we received from a resident. The city offices notified the resident that he had a water leak. First of all, he says that he's very glad that he was notified. Chris Graff from the water department went to the residence and helped the resident investigate where the water leak may be. And the resident stated that Chris was very cordial, knowledgeable, and helpful. And he wanted to thank Chris for his help. He said he's a great representative of the city of Garden Ridge, and if we could reward or recognize him in some way, he certainly has earned it. The second thank you we received was from another resident, and this thank you was addressed to our city secretary, Marissa Spencer. And this resident was thanking or wanted the city secretary to know that when Kat took her place at the January council meeting, that he thought she did an excellent job. He liked the way the cameras viewed the citizens during the first citizen comment period. He said her presentation on the upcoming election material for the city was very concise and delivered very well. He also noticed that she instructed Ryan, when our city engineer was speaking, to turn the mic on, and no one knew that she had instructed Ryan to do that. And he thought throughout the entire meeting, Kat ran everything very smoothly. So he says thanks to Kat and congratulations to Marissa on having the confidence to trust her to handle things in her absence. There is another thank you from a city resident. He was going down Back Cave Road and noticed someone wearing a reflective vest and picked up trash. Saw that it was Linda Potts. And he feels, in his opinion, that Linda is the hardest working volunteer in our community and that she should be commended. And then we have a recognition for employee service years. Holly McKay for 5 years, service to the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Citizens comment period. I don't think we have anyone signing up. Okay, so we'll go to number 7, consent agenda. Council, I assume everyone's looked it over and just read every single word? And does anyone want anything pulled? Okay,
I move we approve the consent agenda.
yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Approvals and authorizations. Nancy, Scout projects?
Yes, sir. The Parks Committee has been working with 2 scouts in our community on their Eagle Scout service projects. Both of the projects will be enhancements to Paul Davis Park. Both of the scouts are here and would like to present their projects to the City Council for Council's consideration. And the first young man is Charlie Hogue. He is proposing to construct a Gaga ball pit. You can take your mask off.
Okay,
Is it Mike?
it's fine. I don't need a mic. Oh,
No,
for the
yeah,
people
you will.
online. Hello, I'm Charlie Hogue, and I would like to be building a Gaga Ball pit at Garden Ridge Park. So, what is a Gaga Ball pit? You might ask. It's sort of a silly name, but you might not know what it is. But I was introduced to it at camp when I was probably in 4th grade, and I really just fell in love with it. Your kids might know what it is. It's a wooden frame. It's about 3 feet tall, and you play by hitting a 4-square ball around and trying to hit each other's feet. And so I really think that it would make a great addition to the park, because it's just something that whenever I'm at church events at the park, it's just something that I noticed, and I thought it'd be cool if we had a Gaga Ball pit here. So how will I build it? Like most things, you can find online. So there's a website called Coach Cliff's Gaga Ball Pits, and you buy brackets and then you drill them together to make a Gaga Ball pit, and you can choose colors. And so I talked with Mr. Chamberlain, and we decided on a green color because that would go with the park's theme of existing structures. And where will it be? This is just an approximate sketch. I took a picture and then I outlined where it would be. So you can't see, but it's by the new basketball court that put in. And we talked about how having the Gaga Ball pit there will draw people over to where the entire park will be able to be utilized. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, sir. Are you going to present the dimensions?
Uh,
Because there are some concerns, I think, about some of the equipment and on the other one.
Yeah, okay. So
Okay,
if you,
That's what you have? Okay.
yeah, if you see right there,
Right, I see it.
well, we're gonna go with the 10-foot one.
Okay.
So the pit diameter is 25 feet.
Mhm.
And if you can see, so that's by the basketball pit, and there's a clearing of trees.
Right.
And we actually measured it out. If you see the rocks in the drawing, we took a tape measure and measured out the distance. And so I traced it so it's easier to see, but that's about how big it will be, like in that little area.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Ryan?
I've played Gaga Ball, and it's a lot of fun, so I think it's a great idea.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yogi Bear Campground has Gaga Ball pits.
Okay, we need a consent from council for this issue, for this project. Looks like we all want it, and good luck. I've seen it played at Northeast Bible, and they're laughing their heads off as they play. It's a great game.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
for your offer.
All right.
I recommend that we have a council match
Oh,
when it's built.
I'm sure we can organize something.
Yes, thank you.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Well done.
Joey Cerniak.
Hello, my name is Joey Zerniak. I am with Troop 828, and I'm here to request approval for my Eagle Scout project. My Eagle Scout project will consist of a workout station for Paul Davis Park, which is including pull-up bars, dip bars, balance beams, and climbing ropes. This will be located towards the back edge of Paul Davis Park, so we can make like areas for people to go back there and more use of the entire park. Some of the key benefits of having this is it provides exercise areas for the citizens and residents of Garden Ridge. It promotes a healthy lifestyle for our community, and the dimensions of my project are on the slide right now. If y'all have any questions.
Okay.
I'm just wondering about liability issues for the city. Perhaps you don't have the answer, sir, but perhaps our city administrator, our city attorney?
I checked with Texas Municipal League, and they will insure the equipment once the city accepts it and we put a monetary value on it. But they did not have any problem with liability.
Okay, because I do know that when, and I'm glad to see that it was corrected or changed, if you will, when the parks talked about it, the balance beam originally was quite a bit higher, which we thought might be a little bit dangerous. So I like that it's 2 feet. Thank you.
Todd? Right. Looks good here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joey.
Well done, Joey. In all disclosure, I'm also his Eagle Project coach, so he's been doing a lot of work on this.
Staff reports. City administrator.
Real quick, before we go to that, is that a consensus amongst council on that one?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
we already
Yes.
did the consent. You want us to say formally? Okay, thank you. Okay. Nancy.
The only thing that I would like to add to my report is that I have been receiving a number of calls concerning possible development along 2252. And I expect that within the next several months, both planning and zoning and city council should be seeing some development activities be coming forward to each body for possible consideration. That's all I had on my report, sir.
Okay, thank you. Karen?
So since the last council meeting, we have onboarded 3 new employees. Jack Dowdy for Public Works, Michael Jefferson, and Jason Smith for the Police Department. And with the exception of 1 open position in the Water Department, the city is fully staffed for all funded positions. The finance area has taken care of all the end of the year reports. The W-2s and the 1099s have all gone out. And we continue to work towards finalizing the STEP program. Any questions?
No, I don't have any. Lisa? Thank you, Karen. Marissa?
There are a few things that I would like to highlight on my monthly activity report that was included in the packet. And that is, as a reminder, City Hall lobby is open until 6 p.m. every Tuesday in an effort to accommodate more citizens. But in order to be successful in that effort, we must continue informing the public of this change, so help us spread the word. For the city's general election in May, the filing deadline is Friday, February 12th. The date, time, and location for the drawing for place on ballot will be posted after the filing deadline, but 72 hours in advance of the drawing, so stay tuned. And the January City Council meeting had 102 views, and all commission meetings in January had a combined total of 46 views. And then lastly, I will elaborate on the COVID-19 vaccine information that you see under communication efforts during the COVID-19 agenda item later in this meeting. So don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you, sir. Most of the information is in my report. We briefly talked about, I introduced you to Michael Jefferson. I have one other officer that last meeting I told you we were in the process of going through and doing backgrounds. So we did offer him a conditional offer of employment, and that is Jason Smith. He actually started FTO yesterday or today with the different shifts. So now we have 2 officers. We have Michael Jefferson and Jason Smith, both in FTO at the same time right now, which brings us up to full staff. It's been quite some time since we've been at full staff, so we're looking forward to getting everybody out on the road. You saw earlier in the awards for city employees and anniversaries, Holly McKay got her 5-year. She's been out for a while. She was out on modified duty and then maternity leave, and she came back this week as well. So she has got back up to speed on all her qualifications for weapons and different training, and will be going back out on the road this week as well. So we welcome her back, and that brings us up to where we need to be for some manpower issues. One other thing I want to add to the report, you are aware that I purchased a traffic analyzer a while back because the first one got stolen. We got the second one. It's been being used in different areas of the city. I asked for and received permission from the Comal ISD to do a count over here on the property lines so we can kind of figure out how much traffic we have going in and out of the school every day. We're always talking about different needs, different issues. Nobody has any idea how many vehicles we're talking about, so I'm going to try to get that accomplished over the next couple of weeks. Just wanted you to be aware of that. That is all I have to add in my report.
Thank you. Stephen.
Good evening. In January, we recorded 1 inch of rain at our Public Works yard. The Public Works Department removed about 20 pounds of trash from the city right-of-ways. In City Hall, we replaced seven faucets with 7 automatic faucets and 4 automatic flush valves for the bathrooms. We also had the fire alarm serviced, and it passed for City Hall and the Public Works building. We have no new reported cases of oak wilt in the city. We've had to deal with 3 deers in the month of January. We adopted 1 dog, and we currently have 1 dog, 1 cat, and that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Stephen. Jacob.
Check. Hello. Thank you. Only thing to highlight in my report is in the total water loss. There's some data that's not put there. Once we get the data, we're gonna put that in there and have that for you next month. Other than that, the AMI project is still going on. It's going on pretty well. We have installed in the month of January 1,045 meters. This puts us all the way up to right at 43 meters short of having the whole city completely switched out. We also, through this, we've also found 201 customer leaks. They will be getting notifications of these leaks automated through our customer portal. I encourage everyone who has an account who has an account with us but is not on the customer portal to do so. You can see your water usage, and you can set your own alarms. So if you have a leak or anything, it'll email you or call you and let you know if you have an issue. I also want to highlight we had a TCEQ inspection. We haven't gotten the final report, but I think we did well. And also we had a weather station that was put up, a weather tower that was put up. And in our customer portal, we have data for rainfall and heat that is around the area, but now we'll have a station that we can use the data real time at home. And that's all I have for my report.
Thank you. By the way, does anyone have any questions? Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda.
Yes, good evening. Just a couple of extra things. This coming Saturday will be Family Tech Day, where we will have Lego robotics, coding, the AWE computers, which are awesome, from children from ages 2 and up, and even the Cricut machine will be showing people how to use that. And this marks the beginning of our being open again on Saturdays from 10 to 1. This helps people who work and can't get here any other time. And also, it's going to be a relearning experience because many people aren't used to coming on Saturday. Our estate planning seminar scheduled for next Thursday, the 11th, is being very, very well received. I think the name Jim Voller has something to do with that. A lot of people have already signed up. As of 5:30 tonight, 61 people are registered, and we have a limit of 70 because of space, even though it's being held in the Wildflower Room of the community center. So if people aren't registered, they won't be able to come. So we'll be standing there at the door, unfortunately, blocking. But he has been so gracious as to say he would do another one in the not-too-distant future. And on the COVID, if you'll allow me, just a little bit of pride. I met with area librarians this last Friday via Zoom, and many of them are still closed, or they're doing curbside service only. One library, Seguin, is very proud that they have gotten a book sanitizer, and we've had one since last April, and so some of them don't even clean their books with Clorox wipes. But, you know, we do Clorox wipes, we do the book sanitizer. We want to keep our patrons as safe as we possibly can. And so we're really happy to do that. And, you know, our city has taken this all seriously. You as leaders have led the way for us to take it seriously, and I think it pays off. So.
Thank you, Linda. John, I have a question.
Oh, yes.
As the COVID thing wears down a little bit, have you ever thought about having some computer classes for some of the older people in the community that don't really know everything they should know about even navigating through the general things in the computer?
Absolutely. We would love to do that. We've done it in the past, but we will
have you?
offer it again. We will be happy to do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. Pat?
Good evening. The TxDOT project, we're continuing to track that with TxDOT, as I reported previously. We've met with them and resolved their utility conflicts, or their perceived utility conflicts with Garden Ridge water improvements, and have proposed a plan. They basically have approved that, and the next step would be to press ahead with final design plans for bidding and construction. So we're continuing to monitor that situation with TxDOT, and the other utilities are also beginning their relocation effort, and to ensure coordination with them as we press ahead. On the 2252 wastewater project, well, first, any questions on TxDOT? No, I'll press ahead. On the 2252 wastewater project, we're continuing to work with property owners. As Ms. Kane said, yes, there have been a number inquiring about wastewater lines and routing, and so providing maps and general education of what a pressure sewer system is and how the system will operate. And so continuing to work with that. The contractors are all getting their equipment together. The force main contractor will be the first one that will be most visible. They've been issued a notice to proceed. They're completing ordering their equipment, materials, and hope to begin quickly here. So we're finishing some final permitting with TxDOT. We have 2 road crossings, and final securing of easements along the route. And so that has been worked well. Tonight, we have a bid award to present to you. We had previously bid the pump and haul service back in September, and we didn't receive any bids at that time. We had a lot of inquiries, but contractors, suppliers are not used to bidding this type of service. This is basically a service agreement with the city. The contractor would be on call, be available to haul sewage that would be collected in the holding tank in the initial phase of the project, and then transport that to the Cibolo Creek Municipal Authority plant, where we have a existing contract with them to provide wastewater service to the city. So this time we rebid. We probably had about 10 contractors request plans, request information. We ended up with 4 bids. They were all fairly close. The low bid was submitted by Talbert Quality Carriers. They presently have several contracts in the area. Probably their largest is they're hauling for the city of Schertz from some new development off of I-10, 1518 area. But Mr. Parsons, myself, interviewed the owner over the phone, had conversations about their equipment, their viability. After checking the math through all the carriers and looking at all the results, prepared tonight to recommend that city award to Talbert Quality Carriers, and the next step will be to enter into a service agreement with them for a period of 3 years, with a 3-year renewal after that, and that there won't be any charge until we actually use them for a hauling service or have something to haul. So, be happy to answer any questions about Talbert or hauling or the rest of the city 2250 wastewater project as it's moving forward. Any questions?
Yes, sir. It's a 3-year contract, and you say it's an on-call service?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How much, do they respond to emergencies as well, or do we have some sort of a baseline for, once we get established, that they get 24 hours before they come out and haul and empty, or?
The contracts call for them to respond within 180. The contract calls for them to respond within 180 minutes. 3 hours.
Right.
I mean, 3 hours, yes.
Right, 3 hours.
So, yeah, when we place a call, they'll be here in 3 hours. So we'll have controls on the tank and observing it, and as we need a service, we would call and have them based on frequency and also if we have an emergency and we need that service.
Okay, and where do we have the reading on the control? Where do the control readings go, to our water department? Or?
Yes, so they will go to the water department.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Pat, is there any part of our contract, I don't know, we discussed this before, but the holding tank, is that being leased or do we purchase that?
It's being purchased.
Okay. So what do we do with it after we're done?
There's a market for those kind of tanks.
All right. That'll work. Thanks.
Yes.
I got a quick question. When do you, we have a 3-year contract. Is that, A, when will that start? And B, when do you think we will use their services?
As you recall, the other contract, summer contract, was the grinder pump stations, and with that was a O&M service for operation of the system. We have awarded the contract to the company, but we haven't given them a notice to proceed because, again, we don't have any customers, and we have a verbal agreement that they're holding their prices, and as we get that first customer, we'll be giving a notice to proceed. So similar to this with Talbert, we'll have the service contract, but until we need their services, we wouldn't begin that 3-year window.
Okay, do you have any anticipated date that the preliminary work will be done? For the grinder pump and all that?
Well, we're going to break ground and have the main line laid, and then we wouldn't have a sewer customer till the first customer would sign up. We have a number of people inquiring, looking at development plans, and some even that are existing septic tank customers, say on 2252, that are on current septic, have some interest in converting from an on-site system to a centralized system. So, no, tonight can't give you a commitment that we'll have somebody in 30 days or 6 months or whatever, but we're getting a lot of inquiries, and the first one will be the first one. So the system will be in place, the backbone will be in place in the ground, ready to function, and then we'll see who's the first one.
Thank you. Lisa? Thank you, sir.
There's we've seen this with other facilities. It's kind of the old saying, build it and they will come. When central sewer is in place, yeah, it's kind of a magnet for development because it diminishes a lot of the land planning issues associated with on-site wastewater systems. So, no, there is a lot of interest for sure. Okay.
Anything else?
If you could take action on the award, and we'll proceed with that.
Oh, yeah.
If you so desire.
Do we have a motion to accept the bid?
What's the name of the company, Pat?
Talbert Quality Carriers.
I move we accept the bid from Talbot Company.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No opposed.
Thank you, and we'll get the service agreement prepared and continue to report on the project. Thank you.
Reports, recommendations, possible actions. Planning and zoning, Dr. Miller.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Glad to be back after a short hiatus. I'm excited to follow the engineer and hear him talking about the wastewater project and the TxDOT project because they both impact on what we do in P&Z, and things have been kind of slow, waiting for some guidance from the engineers in the city and developers. Getting excited about coming here to Garden Ridge. You've heard me say what I'm about to say several times before, but this time I mean it. We're finished, we think we're finished with the rewrite of the zoning ordinance. The technical committee met right after the last month's city council meeting the next day, and we finished our job in terms of going over the rough draft, and it's in the hands of the city administrator and the city attorney, and they're going to fine tune it a little bit before we present it to the rest of the commissioners on planning and zoning, and they'll pick it apart a little bit, see what we missed, and then the next step after that is to have a public hearing and present it to have our first public hearing and present it to the citizens and see what they think about it before we even send it to city council. But we're close to sending it to city council down the road. The biggest thing holding us up right now is basically where are we going with COVID and what COVID's going to do to our plans. We discussed at length, and we'll discuss in our next meeting, some of the things that will be necessary to roll out the rewrite, mainly the marketing plan and getting it out to the citizens. There was some discussion about overcoming some of the innate apathy we have in Garden Ridge, which is less than most communities. But we're wondering how we're going to make it seem important to look at this rewrite with COVID going on at the same time. So we have some challenges before us to get it out to the citizens. We looked at a land use map and we identified an area in the city potentially where we can do some mixed density development, not mixed density, some medium density development, which will allow us to do some garden homes, which in the past, looking at our old land use map, was going to be difficult because we had places for low density and places for high density, but nothing for medium density. That's about all we talked about. Next month's agenda is going to lean towards discussing some opportunities for marketing and rolling things out when we get to that point. But it's good to hear the wastewater project is coming along, and it's good to hear the development along 2252 is picking up, and sounds like we're going to be busy. Any questions?
Okay. Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quarry Commission, Janelle Holly.
Evening, council members. This past month, we had our first meeting for the year, and during that time, we looked at the reports from the various citizens and also identified that really none of the blasting that the quarry has been doing has been, how would I say, it's well below the standard for Ordinance 34 and the GSBM standard. So the quarry has been really being a good partner, if you will, with their blasting and whatnot. But we did have one interview, and David Beisner, if I can pronounce his name correctly, he is well educated, and he very good opportunity to have someone on the commission, and he wants to do that. And I would like to see if you guys would recommend. We voted for him, and we want him on the commission, and he's willing to do that. So I look to you for approval.
Is he here?
No, he is not.
Oh, okay. Just curious.
We did interview him, and he has a beautiful resume.
I got to read Mr. Beisner's resume, and he comes to the city with education and job experience that exceeds any commissioner that we've ever had on the Quarry Commission.
And
So
that's
I'm really
a great
looking
thing.
forward to having him on that commission. So let's go ahead and, I move that we go ahead and approve him.
Okay.
Second the motion?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I will be pleased to let him know. Any other questions?
Did you include the monthly activity update on that? Anything else?
No, there isn't.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Water Commission.
Good evening, council. Like, I left y'all off the hook last month with nothing, so I made up for it this month. We have 2 leak adjustments to review with you. The first one is leak adjustment for 9419 Gardenia Pin for the period of August 21st, 2020 to September 24th, 2020. The petitioner had kept their irrigation system off for 12 months because they knew it needed repairs. Total Lawn Care, TLC, was hired to make the repairs on August 19th, and it took several days to complete. Petitioner said that most of the water usage was due to the irrigation specialist, running the system to assess for leaks, breaks, things like that. The petitioner also stated that they found the irrigation running overnight. So that's what, and it was confirmed by the laptop readings. Laptop readings show irrigation estimated to be 45,000 gallons by itself. Petitioner also mentioned that AT&T was running, or a contractor for AT&T was running fiber optics cable to the neighbors and trenched through their yard and damaged some of the irrigation piping also. The water manager, when he talked to the petitioner, asked them if they felt that these two companies were liable for some of the water uses. And they did feel that they're accountable for the water uses, but they have been unsuccessful in getting them to, accept responsibility. And there's emails in your packet from those discussions. The Water Commission used a 3-month average of 55,000 gallons to calculate the credit instead of the calculated version using the laptop readings. This resulted in a leak calculation of 72,000 gallons versus the 102,000 that the laptop readings indicated. The Water Commission voted 3-0 to recommend to council to a credit of $1,023.56. I will note that customer history showed that City Council approved a credit to this petitioner back in August of 2015 for $3,700, just for information there. And I couldn't find I don't remember the cause of the leak was recorded or anything. Is the petitioner in the audience? I know they were here earlier. I guess not. So anyway, Mayor Pro Tem, I'll turn it back to you for questions, comments, whatever, but I try to list all the facts.
Questions for Jesse, comments, Kay?
Yes, sir. Do you have any, I did read the packet, of course, but do you have any updates on the response from TLC or AT&T?
I don't have any response, Manager, Jacob? No. So no additional response from them.
I know there was discussion about adjusting the fee, the credit, if you will, based on theirs, because what happens if they come along and say, you're right, it was our mistake, which I don't think AT&T will.
Right, and AT&T, it was actually their contractor who did it, I think, as far as I know. Usually AT&T doesn't do the trenches.
Well,
Yeah, so, but they prefer to AT&T, but I know it's a contractor they use.
TLC is a local resident.
Right, yeah. And that's what we kept on questioning about them doing it. And the Water Commission went ahead and made the recommendation though. So.
Excuse me, I don't have any questions right now.
You can come back, yeah.
Todd? Not yet. Brian?
AT&T never has any problem billing us for anything they might do. Cynthia, can we bill the AT&T for the loss in water as the city?
No.
Oh.
But I don't think that needs a microphone to say that, but the response is no, sir.
I will say the commission went through a lot of discussion on this, going back and forth from recommending, denying it to a different option to the full option. So it was really a debated discussion.
Okay, now my question is kind of, I'll call it a hybrid question. Can we set this up as such that if AT&T or TLC does eventually provide relief to the Zerniaks, that money comes back to the city? That's kind of a hybrid, I know, because it's putting the onus back onto TLC and AT&T. And Cynthia, you already said we couldn't bill them for it, but.
Well, I certainly believe the city could make that conditional. The issue is how would you enforce it? And while I firmly believe that the Zerniak family would be utmost honorable and let the city know, there just wouldn't be any recourse to
actually enforce it.
Right, to actually enforce that.
Okay. I guess another option could be just to go ahead and ask the petitioner to go back to those two companies and try to get something first before we do anything.
That's actually what I was going to ask if.
The commission, yeah.
if-
Now, that's my opinion, not the commission's.
I mean, so where are we on the, in other words, the Zerniaks are current on their water bill, so to speak?
I believe so.
Is that- Jacob, the Zerniaks are current on their water bill? Kat, whomever? Somebody?
As far as I know, Kat?
So I mean, there's no.
Currently, the Zerniaks are set up on a utility arrangement plan, and they are current in that standing.
Okay, and I don't mean to invade, I just
Yeah.
mean, in other words, we potentially would not be harming them if we suggested we wait another month to see if one or both of the parties would respond. I'd be in favor of that, just to see, not to say we would automatically approve it or disapprove it next month, but I think possibly we need to address that a little more clearly with the responsible parties.
Good idea. So, council, we want to table this till next month?
Y'all might be able to tell them to tell the AT&T and TLC to make a decision, whatever they're gonna do quickly, because we're gonna make a decision next month. So,
I'll work with, Mr. Parsons has a comment.
I mean, tell them, not
Yeah.
you, Jess.
Okay. Mr. Parsons, you have?
Yes.
So in the discussions that has been had, they said they've been with them numerous times, talking to both AT&T and the irrigation company, and they have gotten nowhere with them. But what I don't know that was addressed is if they've ever tried to take an incident report or a legal action to try to force their hand. I don't know what report has been sent in. I don't know if it was just verbal and denied. And so, so those are questions that could be answered before, or would probably need to be answered if you wanted to come back and address it next month.
Okay, so we really need to contact Cerniacs and see what they can do, contacting AT&T, let's say in a little formal manner. One of the problems is, if you get a lawyer, you won't save anything, if you win. Okay, so we're not gonna do anything on the Gardenia Bend leak. The next, yes, Nancy?
Can we get council's consensus on the direction that we want to take on that particular leak adjustment request?
Okay, yeah.
Please.
We want to, our consensus appears to be that we want to table it until next month.
We would like the Zerniaks to go back to both companies and get some resolution from them.
Yes.
And then we'll decide what we're going to do next month.
Yes, and to Mr. Lancy's point, I would like to stipulate again that this is not a guarantee we will or will not approve it. It's like we just kind of need to start fresh, see what additional information we have next month.
So that would be actually back to city staff to handle.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The leak adjustment, request for leak adjustment for 19907 Wildcrest.
Okay. That's for a billing period of July 23rd through August 24th, 2020. And as in the details here, the petitioner doesn't go outside. He had a brain injury prior. His wife was actually the one that was taking care of the house, the garden, everything else in the yard, and she died unexpectedly on July 4th. And so the leak was actually found by a visitor coming to kind of celebration of life for her. Found the leak, found a wet spot in the area. The irrigation was repaired on July 23rd, which was the first day of the billing period. Later on, a neighbor found a geyser from one of the irrigation line spray nozzles that had been broken off, so it was just spraying water. And called the daughter and shut the water off. The petitioner also found a water softener that was just running water through it, going right straight through a drain. That was repaired actually in December. So the Water Commission, and I'll jump down to the bottom. The daughter is now the caregiver or guardian for the customer, and actually moved into the resident to take care of their father. Water Commission used the consumption for the same month the previous year to calculate the leak. Used 74,000 gallons as for the leak purpose versus as their 74,000 as the actual standard consumption for that month, resulting in a leak of 153,000 gallons instead of the 215 calculated. Water Commission again voted 3-0 to recommend to council a credit of $2,508.92. I will note that this customer also had a leak request, one of the first ones we looked at since we started the new leak adjustment process. It was back in December of 2019 for almost $4,000. That was credited to their account. And that was on their main line, not the irrigation system. It was from the meter to the house that broke. So I think that's all my comments. Back to you, Mayor Pro Tem McCall.
Questions for Chairman Holly or Valdez? Okay, comments, questions?
Yes, I'd like to recommend you start on the right once in a while.
There's only one over there.
By the way,
Okay. Jesse, we have two.
The petitioner is here today if you want to ask the petitioner questions also. So, or myself, whichever one. So go
Okay,
ahead.
we have two leak adjustments here for people that have prior,
Yes, sir.
both of them.
Correct.
And y'all are voting again unanimously to.
The commission
give them
voted,
another-
of course, the chair didn't vote, the commission did.
I'm having a hard time with this.
I understand. The commission did too, So,
Well, why are you bringing us a unanimous vote?
because,
Yes,
well,
to
the
give them
commission,
another-
the commission voted unanimously.
How many times are we gonna do this?
I have to bring it to
Every
you.
other year?
Well, I said, the commission voted unanimously, so I have to bring it to you. So,
All right.
my job as the chair to do that.
I guess in my mind that they've come before us before is kind of moot. Acts of God happen. If it was a mistake, like leaving the toilet run while you went on vacation, then I'd be kind of more of a, well, that's your fault. Something that is no fault other than the ground shifting in Texas and popping a water line, I'd kind of go, okay, that's why we want to write how we were doing water leak adjustments and everything else. So I guess that's kind of my thought process on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing.
Did you reconsider? Okay.
Like I said, the petitioner is here if you want to ask her any questions.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions of the petitioner? Okay.
Okay.
Can I have a motion on the leak adjustment for 19907 Wildcrest?
I vote to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Y'all are real exciting tonight.
It's a slow Wednesday.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay.
Oh, nay.
It passes 3-2.
Yes, sir. As you know, the Water Commission took on a number of projects for 2020. The projects included infrastructure and health and maintenance, governance and procedures, source and supply management, and strategic planning. While the COVID-19 precautions delayed the start of some of the projects, the commission did plow through and made some good progress on most of the tasks. In your packet, I put a summary of all the projects and comments, the status. I will highlight a couple of them only. Of course, the AMI project. We're very pleased that council approved this project to proceed, and as Mr. Parsons announced earlier, we're down to only 43 meters to be installed. I think we have like, 112 that are actually on the portal at this point. That's what I remember. Okay, it's higher now. So that was as of the Water Commission meeting. Also, the ordinance review, which has been a long time coming, the subcommittee has done an excellent job of doing a detailed review and looking at items that are covered by other ordinances, and to avoid duplication. Y'all approved 61 back in December. 54 I should have that bringing to you in either next month or month after that. There's still some more additional reviews on that. It's a big ordinance to go through. Of course, the annual water rate study that continues, we'll continue to do that annually. And the water leases, we discontinued the water leases because the leaseholder was asking like a 48% increase in the lease rate on that one. So have a big savings by not continuing on that. Anyway, like I said, the detailed description is in your packet. So if you have any questions on that, I will remind that we have an opening on the Water Commission still. And I understand there's a couple applicants already that we're reviewing or interviewing here in February. So hope to fill that position then. Our next meeting is February 23rd, 6 p.m. That's all I have.
Anything else, council?
I don't know if we can make this a standard rule, but the third time's the charm. If we hear from these people again, I don't think anybody's going to be as nice as they were this time.
Yeah, I know the subcommittee on the ordinance is looking at making changes on the leak adjustment process, and that's probably one to consider there, how many times you request leak adjustments. Something I'll pass on to the subcommittee.
Yeah, the Wild Crest individual, obviously, he has some circumstances there that not too many people have. But if you're as careless as you let it happen 3 times, you're on your own. That's my opinion.
Yes, sir. Concur.
Any other opinions? Thank you. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Wildlife Management Advisory Commission. David, good to see you.
It's been a minute. Good evening, how are y'all? All right, so it's been a minute since I've been up here to give an update. As you know, we haven't been doing much in the way of wildlife management, especially around deer, but we do have something to bring to y'all today from our meeting here in January. It is the appointment of Dean Limmers to our commission, and he was unanimously voted in. I think he's interviewed twice with us before. This is the 3rd time that he's been in front of us. We haven't had a lot of applicants, so he was welcomed quickly onto our commission. So we're looking for approval on that this evening.
Do we have any questions for David? Lisa? Okay. I need a motion to approve the appointment of Dean Limmers to the Wildlife Management Advisory Commission, Place 2.
I move to approve Dean Limmers to the Wildlife Management Commission, Place 2, I believe you said?
Place 2.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
And I think that's, as far as the wildlife management goes, that's all we really have. Obviously, you know, we haven't been trapping any deer. There's no real update there. I think y'all seen the reports from, you know, the city on deer carcass pickup, that type of thing. Other than that, there's really not a lot to discuss. I think we are exploring some alternatives on what we can do. If there aren't any locations for us to trap deer, what is option B, C, D, E, whatever. We're looking into that, and we'll report back once we have a little bit more information.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Parks Committee. Nancy?
Yes, sir. As you're aware, you heard the Eagle Scout project proposals. So the Parks Committee has been actively working with the Scouts on those proposals. And they continue to work on Parks Committee events and projects, and they will bring more information about those items to the council in March.
Yes, Kay.
The previously mentioned Egg Extravaganza version 2 has been postponed, potentially to the fall of 2021, and we might make it a tree egg hiding contest or something at this point. We have the eggs. We did donate the candy from last year, so we're not holding it, just for anyone watching, we're not holding the candy over. But there won't be an Egg Extravaganza this spring.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay. Volunteer Garden Ridge. Nancy.
The city has a total of 189 volunteer hours for the month of January. 87 of those hours were at the Parks Committee, 92 in the library, and 10 with the ladies who help us stuff our water bills.
It's great to hear such numbers for volunteering in a small city like ours. It's great. Of course, it always reminds me of, I think, back when Jay Feibelman was mayor, his favorite word seemed to be volunteerism. And it's still applicable. Do we have any updates on COVID-19? Say what? Yeah.
Mr. McCaw, do you want me to report on that?
Okay, go on. I was waiting
Okay.
for Larissa.
Governor Abbott renewed the COVID-19 disaster declaration on January 5th, 2021. Also, Executive Order GA 32 is still in effect. Per this governor's orders, we are still under increased restrictions that were triggered on December 28th, 2020 due to our trauma service area's hospitalization rate remaining above 15%. Therefore, businesses are limited to a 50% capacity, bars must close, and hospitals must postpone their elective surgeries. Do you want me to continue moving forward through that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. The city has received all of the funds that were due to the city, or that we were able to receive through the CARES Act. Stephen Steinmetz, our Public Works Director, is actively working on a touch-free fixtures for all city facilities, and Mr. Steinmetz will provide you a status report on that.
Yes, we're still looking into getting some automatic doors for City Hall, Library, and the Community Center. We're currently upgrading all the faucets and toilets We're also going to be looking into getting touchless light fixtures to where you don't have to flip a switch. You can probably just walk into a room or just say on and it'll come on. We narrowed down a company for a water softener. So once we have all these new faucets and whatnot, we can protect them with water that's not hard to make them last a little bit longer. That's all I have about now. If you can see on the chart, we've already ordered quite a bit of things already, like all the touchless faucets, water fountains, like for City Hall, Library, Community Center. We've ordered them, but they're kind of back ordered since all this started. A lot of people started doing the same thing as upgrading to touchless, so they're going to be take a little bit longer to get here once they arrive. But we've already secured somebody to install them and everything also.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, I have a question, if I may, back to Ms. Kane on the COVID
Yes.
discussion. What recourse do we have for, as the weather gets so much nicer, and it's wonderful to see everyone in our parks, but when there are large groups, where are we on all that?
We will be following whatever the orders state at that time.
Right, but I mean, how do we enforce it if 50 people go get together?
Those gatherings still need to be approved by the mayor.
So if they're not being, I mean, if people are just innocently going there and gathering, does that fall on our police department?
Yes, if they are in groups larger than, I believe it's 10.
Is it 10 still?
Yes.
Okay, I hate to discourage the use of it because it's, like I said, the weather's been so nice and we've had a lot of people out there. It's just that we've got to be so careful, so.
We're not discouraging the use of the park.
No, no.
We're just, they are going to have to be in groups of 10 or less. They're going to have to follow the orders that are in place from the governor's office.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Spencer also has an update to provide you concerning some information we're posting on our website.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do we have any other questions on?
Yeah, before we move on to her, when we get reimbursed, do we get that from the state?
The money that we received through the CARES Act was federal money.
Federal, okay.
Am I correct, Karen? That was federal funding.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Todd? Lisa? Way over there? Nancy, anything on, update on Oakwell?
Marissa's going to report.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marissa.
You keep trying to skip me. So, as I had talked about earlier, we've been doing a communication effort that has to do with COVID-19 vaccine information. So, during a time where the demand vastly outweighs the supply, which I'm sure you all are well aware, we understand that trying to find locations to get a vaccine or even just trying to register for a waiting list to get a vaccine has been cumbersome and frustrating for many. This is why we created a COVID-19 vaccine information page on the city's website for vaccine information sources all in one place. Our goal for this page is to be informative and helpful to our community, and we'll continue to update it as we learn of any additional information. But again, we need your help in ensuring everyone in our community is informed, so please consider passing the information on to your neighbors, your friends, family that may be unaware about where or when they can get vaccinated, and especially to those without social media. To quickly navigate to this page, simply go to the city's website and click on the COVID-19 vaccine information picture. Made it a picture because that usually grabs people's attention more. And it'll take you straight to that page. And once you're on the page, you'll find information and links to various locations and options for getting the vaccine if you're eligible to be vaccinated now. For example, we have a section that's called Local Vaccine Providers, and there's a link that takes you to the Texas COVID-19 Vaccine Availability Map, as well as links and registration information to get you connected with the providers near our community. We also have information for the vaccination hub providers, any upcoming local vaccine clinics, and Comal County's COVID-19 vaccine standby list. At the bottom of the page, we also included a section titled Additional Helpful Links. So before you hop on Google and end up frustrated down a rabbit hole with little to no answers and possibly more confusion and questions than you started with, please check out this page. We have tried to simplify some of the researching for you by sifting through these various sites, registration processes, documents, everything to bring you the sources all in one place. So check it out, tell everyone about it. It's very easy to use. The links are all there. We tried to make it as simple as possible for things that just don't seem to be very simple for anyone else.
Lisa, any questions? Brian?
I'm going to say most excellent, having watched my wife and myself try to navigate that system for my wife's parents or my parents who are currently down in Florida, and it's a nightmare. You just can't figure out where to go get the shot and get that all figured out. And they're all, you know, in their 70-plus range. So, you know, just a couple years younger than Brian. Had to do it, sorry. No, it's really frustrating to dig into all of that, and that's nicely done. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Marissa? Thank you. Update on Oak Wilt.
As I reported in January, the Oak Wilt abatement, the containment and the abatement of the Oak Wilt outbreak in the city is complete. As of last week, all cost-sharing funds through the city as well as the state have been dispersed to all property owners that participated in the abatement program. So the program is complete. Also, as a reminder, trimming of oaks is prohibited from February 1st through June 30th.
Just a good job in getting all that money dispersed into the homeowners. That was something
you.
cities don't usually do effectively, I don't think. So that makes sure people get paid back.
We followed the cost share program application.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Bud? Anything else, Nancy?
I don't have anything else for Oak Wilt.
Dope. City Council projects, Councilmember Swint and Councilmember Arvidsson.
Todd and I visited a little bit about this, and it's still in progress. I have reached out to the Director of Communications at Comel ISD to see if there's a better calendar, a better way to get information from them, and I haven't heard back yet, so I'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, now, I talked with the mayor earlier, and he had no update, so we're going to skip item D. Discussion of future agenda items. Does anyone have anything they want to see on next month or future agendas?
I do. You can start on the right.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of chat online about the city developing a foster program for our, in conjunction with animal control. So I'd like to get that on the agenda for next month.
You have nothing? Thank you, Lisa. Citizens' comment period, limited to 20 minutes. You do not have to sign up for this. Does anyone have anything to say? You have 2 minutes.
Ken Kniper, 8891 Shanetal Road.
I attended last week's Comel ISD school board meeting, and it was reported that was Dr. McKenna's last day. He does have a replacement. She worked with him for the last year, and he told me that during the Christmas holidays, the high school trapped 30 wild hogs in a trap, and they were dispatched. So they've spared George Ranch some hog activity. The school, Davenport High School, is completely paid for. It came in 1.7 million under budget and on time. I talked to the athletic director last night in the cold at the softball game, and I told her that some of that money could be used to get, and there are more bleachers being ordered for the softball field and the baseball field, because there's no way you can socially distance in those stands once the school open, once it gets hotter, warmer. But there's a berm behind those fields for the kids. They're going to direct them to go out there, and they can socially distance and gather on those berms and watch the games from the outfield. And need to say if a ball goes over the fence, they can always throw it back. So things are going well. The basketball team beats Canyon Lake High School, the varsity, on Friday night. They will be in they will go to playoffs. They've only won maybe 4 games, but I guess the other teams have done so poorly, they're still going to get to go. And there are no seniors on the varsity. 1 junior, the rest are sophomores and freshmen. I think that is definitely a kudos to them for doing as well as they have with the amount of experience they've had. And you can tell when you watch them play. They're getting better. Thank you.
Any other comments? Dave?
Dave Krasinski, 8475 Park Lane. Did I go too quick? I'm sorry. David Krasinski, 8475 Park Lane Drive, Garden Ridge. It's been a long time, probably since you've heard somebody complain about it, but I'm gonna do it tonight, and that's speed limits within the city of Garden Ridge. I think, being somebody who walks and runs, seeing people walk and run, I think the speed limits are a touch fast. As we become a younger city with kids running around, I think that the speed limit should be looked at to be possibly lowered. I think that from my understanding of what we own as far as roads go, I think it's Bat Cave, Schoenthal, parts of those should be looked at to possibly lower the speed limit. If you go across 35 and you go into a lot of those subdivisions over there, a lot of those are 20 miles an hour, right? Their maximum speed's 20 miles an hour. So I think that it would be good for the city to look at potentially lowering the speed limit to accommodate maybe walkers, joggers, and I think just having more people out in general would be good, rather than, I know we've gotten a lot of people complaining, well, not a lot, but I think there's people complaining about being afraid to go out and walk just because there's folks kind of whizzing by them or closely whizzing by them at a decent rate. 30 miles an hour is a pretty good clip, but that's all I've got. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Do we have any other citizens' comments? Okay, reports and comments from mayor and city council members. Let's start with Lisa. You good? Brian? Yeah. Okay.
No, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, the only thing I have to say is a thank you to Larry Thompson for having such an abbreviated schedule tonight. And I appreciate it. I know a lot of people up here do also. There's no executive session. Yes. Consequently, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Boy, that was fast. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Is this a record?
No.
Good, John.
Yep, you get to go home now.
Good job, John.